All right, John. Second segment. Let's do some value dogs. Let's keep it going. Keep the energy up because, John, what a week you had last week. 3-0.
Well, now, I would hate to pat myself on the back, but go ahead. Yeah, keep talking.
Yeah, 3-0, a 3-0 week for John. He goes Bears plus 10 at the Lions. Obviously, that covers. You got to take any double-digit line on Thanksgiving Day. What was I thinking?
Come on.
And then Eagles beating the Ravens and the Cardinals just barely eking it out. Luckily, they were able to hold on at the end. Or I guess the Vikings were able to take the win.
Yeah,
but they held on at the end, yeah.
I was safe. I wasn't worried about anything. Touchdown didn't cost me nothing.
Yep.
That's why we like points, boys, because you don't even have to get the win. That's why we like points. More of that.
Yes, so that brings John to crazy stat, 18-21 on the season. John is almost back to 500.
Oh, baby, I've been cooking recently. I love that.
Yes, so John is having a good week, and he's hoping to continue that. I, on the other hand, did not. I went 1-2. Some of my picks were a little spicier, and so I was looking at it, and I was like, what was I doing? I picked the Titans plus 5.5 against the Commanders because the Commanders have looked bad, but it's like, what was I thinking?
They look better. They look better in that game, I'll tell you what.
So I'm 15-24. John is comfortably 3 games ahead of me. Last week, underdogs go 9-6-1, so a good stretch for us. 4-2 on the week is nice in terms of statistical.
Don't attach your 1 and 2 to my 3 and 0.
I'm that's what I do, man.
This guy's a master of spin over here. Together we're 4-2 on the week. Well played.
As a podcast, we matched the underdog covering.
I was like 3-10, 3-11 to start the year. I've been pretty good the last 4 weeks.
It's almost like as we've learned more about these teams, we've actually gotten better at picking the underdogs.
Yeah. If I get back up to 500, I'm going to be pretty psyched. If I end the season 1 game above 500, I'm going to go to some random bar and buy everybody a drink.
And then on the season, underdogs are 47.5% covering the spread. So still under 50%, but climbing back up. Vegas has lost their edge a little bit. And so this is our time to pounce.
Well, yeah, and you know what that is. Don't doubt. Some of these lines are getting a little bigger. And the reason for that is, once again, people do not like betting underdogs. I know that's what we're doing here, but Joe Schmo with the FanDuel app is betting on favorites because that's what's fun to do, picking the better teams. The fact that underdogs are only covering 47% of the spread, that means Vegas is losing 53% of the time.
Yes.
So this is a great time to be betting underdogs because unless Vegas wants to keep hemorrhaging money, they have to start artificially inflating these lines to get underdogs in a situation where they're, doing their job more effectively. So yeah, great. I think that as much as our knowledge deepening, those are 2 factors for why things have been getting better.
Yes. And with that, I'm going to give you the first pick of this week. What is this, week 14 for the NFL?
Week 14, yeah. Week 14, and let me tell you, maybe my favorite week we've done in terms of underdogs. I'm loving the underdog lines all over the place here.
Some of these ones you're going to have to sell me, I'm sure, but I've got 3 that I actually really like, so I'm not deviating. I'm still not deviating, and if we have 3 different ones or 6 different ones again, I will shoot myself in the foot because I got to trust John in some of these points. Yeah,
I bet you we might overlap. With my first pick, I'm going back to Old Faithful. I swear they've maybe let me down once this season, but they continue to be underdogs even though they're a really good team. I'm taking the Chicago Bears plus 4 against the San Francisco 49ers. Did you have that one?
Yep.
Okay, we're on it together. This one is easy to me. Bears played Detroit to a standstill last week. Bears had a massive, they got their teeth kicked in the first half. They were down 21-0, I believe, but stormed all the way back. Caleb Williams, second half king. He has been really good in the second half of the last 4 or 5 football games. And yeah, the Bears are good. Their defense is awesome. They were poor clock management away from beating arguably the best team in football this week. And they're plus 4 points against the San Francisco 49ers, who are hurt and discouraged and just got smacked around by Buffalo. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, yeah, the 49ers just lost Christian McCaffrey for the season. Like, this team is...
Great call!
Like, this team is not going... Like, they might beat this Bears team. I'm not going to say they're not going to beat them, but this Bears team is at least put together. They've got a new coach that either could open up Caleb Williams in an even greater way, or it might deter them. But I think it's something that a new coach always helps the offense shine and the defense can rally behind. Especially, it sounds like Matt Eberflus was not the best of vibes in terms of the Chicago Bears locker room. So all that being said, I like the plus 3.5. The Bears, I think, at this point are as the worst team in the NFC North, they're better than the worst team in the NFC West right now. That's just statistically where they're at. People are probably riding the 49ers from the last couple of years, and I don't buy it. The Bears are better.
Yeah, 100%. Well said. The Eberflus thing is very interesting. When Waldron got fired, it's like, oh, thank God. Finally, about time. I actually really liked Eberflus, and he's an excellent defensive coordinator. He is. He was on the Colts. He's been on a couple different teams. He is a very talented defensive coordinator. So I was really surprised to hear how much the defense specifically seemed to hate his guts. So, a good move by you can't have a head coach that nobody likes or respects. But I am a little bummed because I thought he's really talented at what he does. He'll get a job somewhere and be very effective. Just maybe not a head coach. There are those guys that are good coordinators and not good head coaches.
Yeah.
But yeah, that change is big. And yeah, to your point, McCaffrey's out for the year. You know who else is on the IR? Jordan Mason, the backup running back who'd been so successful. So it's going to be some third string guy we don't know. Brock Purdy's back, but Debo is still hurt. George Kittle is week to week. The Bears have, for the love of God, how many times do I have to say it on this podcast? The Bears have a top 5 defense in the NFL. Their defense is really freaking good.
I think you've said that every single week for the last 3 weeks, at the very least.
Because they keep being underdogs. The points are just always wrong. The Bears should absolutely be like minus 2.5 minimum against this Niners team. You're getting like 6 free points from Vegas right now. It's the best line of the week. I'm glad we're both on it because I think that's as close to a lock as I've had this season.
Wow, John claiming a lock. We're putting it. I'm putting it in the TikTok. We're claiming a lock here.
We should get to do a thing. We should get to do a thing. We should be able to call lines where if we're right, if we call it a lock and it's right, it counts as 2 wins, and if it's wrong, it counts as 3 losses. That way you only do it very selectively.
Yes.
Maybe for next season.
You would have a lock every single week. You'd be negative wins.
I'm way too confident. That'd be bad for me.
All right, with my official first pick, but technically second pick, I am going to take the Green Bay Packers plus 3.5 against the Detroit Lions. The reason for that is the Lions defense got so beat up last week against the Bears. And I think this Packers team has really rounded into form over the last few weeks. They've looked really good offensively. They've got weapons in every facet of the offensive game. They've got Jacobs. They've got a bunch of different receivers who are all effective at what they do. And it's really, I think it's going to be a shootout. And I think this Packers defense, with the Lions' loss of a bunch of key players defensively, I think this Packers defense is probably better than the Lions. So the real question is, can a Packers offense be a little bit less effective than the Lions? Probably. I think they're just as good offensively. So, and also, I love the in-division matchups that are over 3 points. So 3.5 points, especially in this matchup, I really like a lot.
Yeah, 100%. All the good points, and every single one of them is very, very good. I think the best one is probably, the divisional component of it. These teams know each other so well to get 3.5 points. If it was 2.5, I'd think about it more.
Wouldn't have taken it if it was 2.5, yep.
Yeah, but it makes a big difference. These are arguably 2 of the... It's kind of similar to Eagles-Ravens last week, where it's like, okay, 2 of the 5 best teams in the NFL are playing in this game. I guess I'll just take the one where I'm getting points, because it's like, it's so hard to tell when 2 great teams play. It becomes so individual matchup dependent. So yeah, there are a lot of reasons to really like this line. The one reason I don't is because the Lions do scare the crap out of me. And I know they kind of shit the bed against the Bears last week. Bears played a lot better in the second half, but it's worth noting that in the first half of that football game, it's like, okay, this Lions team is completely unstoppable and clearly the best team in football. Second half, things got more interesting, but that was the takeaway after the first half of last week. So they do make me nervous.
Yes. One more note is, I totally forgot what I was going to say. I had it while you were talking, and then I just got really engrossed in your voice, John.
Yeah. I'm good at what I do. Don't feel bad. Yeah, that's fine. It's a good line. I respect it. I honestly was eyeing it, but I'm going to let you have it. No reason to double overlap.
I'll think of it in
so
5
quickly.
minutes and bring up that point again, by the way.
Yeah, do it. Okay, with my second pick of the week, I am taking... Yeah, I'll take them. I'm taking the Los Angeles Chargers +4 against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's time. One, no team has ever been due for a loss as badly as this Chiefs team is due. Like they're owed 7 losses over the last 5 weeks. They're owed more losses than they can literally achieve. So that is one reason. But mainly it is, it's two teams kind of going in different directions. I mean, obviously the Chiefs continue to win games, but they've been doing it against poorer competition with, worse results over the last weeks. They almost lost to Oakland. They almost lost to Brock Bowers and a bucket of sand. Like, unbelievable that they almost lost that game. Meanwhile, this Chargers team played the Ravens to a standstill. That was a really good game. They've just looked really good in recent weeks. Justin Herbert's getting a lot better. Other than Quentin Johnson, their receiving core is looking a lot better, and their defense is humming. So I think, one, the Chargers are a reasonable pick to win outright, and two, 4 points. 4 points is huge, especially against this Chiefs team that when they win by 1 or 2. So it's almost like a double victory. It's Chargers can win, or the Chiefs can win in the same way they have all season, and this bet will still cover.
Yeah, 2 things. One, I remembered my point. The Packers... taking them +3.5 is a little scary, only because I feel like everybody is hitting that line right now. I feel like if you're into betting right now, everybody is keen on the Lions defense struggling and just dealing with injuries, and so the Packers line is a little scary if you don't like following the public bets. Now, back to the Chargers Chiefs line. I 100% agree with you. I think the Chargers are a better team than they've been given credit for based on where they're at. Like, I think. What's their record now? Are they 7-5? Are they
Chargers? Yeah, they're one of those. They might be 7-5. They've stacked up a lot of losses, but they've played a tough schedule.
I think that's the thing. They've played a tough schedule, and they're better than a team with that record would generally be given credit for. I think. So 4 points feels like a decent margin here. And again, the Chiefs don't put anybody away. They like to win on the last possession, and who knows? They might block a field goal for the win again, because that's just what the Chiefs do. And all that is to say, I like your line. I'm not going to take it, but I like it.
I'm doing a homework project right now. I was thinking about this, and I thought it was interesting. Yeah, the Lions, they're just so interesting. While we went back to that game, they, over the course of their 12 games, they are 11-1. In their 11, or I guess in all 12 games, they have only failed to win by 3 or more 4 times. Obviously, when they lost to the Bucs, they then, they had a 3-point win against the Vikings, 3 against the Texans, 3 against the Bears. But other than those games, they're just beating teams by like 20 every single time. It's kind of funny. They just don't win games by intermediate values. So it's one of those things where it's like, this will either definitely cover or it will not cover.
Yes.
It might be hard to be worried about this one at the end, but we'll see. Sorry, we got on a total tangent there. I'm taking the Chargers. That's my second pick.
All right, and I guess with that, my third and final pick, since I took the Bears earlier as well, the Bears. I'm going to take the Cowboys +5.5 against the Bengals. I really hate the Cowboys right now. I really do. This line I don't love, but the Bengals gave up, was it 44 points to Russell Wilson and the Steelers last week? Have you guys watched this Steelers offense ever in this season? It's Russell Wilson. That team hadn't scored more than like 20 points. I think all season, probably. I think that feels right. All season.
They've been better than that. It's not like Skip Bayless over here.
That might be the first time they'd scored over 30 this season, and to get 44 points on this Bengals team, the Cowboys will score at least 30. They showed that they were capable of scoring on that Thanksgiving Day game, where I think they scored 34 points. Just kind of banking on this awful, awful Bengals defense, and Cooper Rush having what will be a fun game. Joe Burrow versus Cooper Rush. Quite the matchup, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, this is an interesting line. I was eyeing it as well, and the main point is a fair one, and that's the Bengals defense is the worst defense in the NFL. Yeah, what happened last week was tough to watch. Russell has led 2 games in which the Steelers have gone over 30 points. But your point is well received. They're not the most dynamic offense in the NFL. The reason I'm concerned is because the Cowboys defense is also pretty bad, and I kind of think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are just pretty furious right now at the fact that their record is what it is. And maybe they're going to give up, or maybe they're going to drop like 65 points on the Cowboys. But 5.5 points is a lot. Cooper Rush does not have to be good to put up points against this Bengals defense. He just has to avoid disaster, and the points will come. So 5.5 points is a lot. I respect it, but I'm going to let you have it.
Thank you, sir.
Instead, I'm going to go a little more chalk. We already discussed this, so we won't spend ages, but the Seahawks plus 2.5 against the Cardinals, another situation where I think you're getting about 5 points. I think it should be the Seahawks minus 2.5. So money on the table as far as I'm concerned. Divisional game, big game, under a field goal. There are a lot of reasons not to like it, but the reason to like it is I think the Seahawks are better. So I'm going to take that one. And that's going to be my next 3-0 week. That's how I get back to 500 right there.
Wow,
Hawks,
look at this guy.
Bears, Chargers. I'm going to put those 3 in a parlay this week.
All right. I guess that's it. Our Week 14 Sound of Seattle Value Dogs. Costco will sponsor us, but for now, we're gonna just take our Value Dogs and run with them.
We'll help you get your name out. Soon everyone
we need
will
the
know
brand recognition.